Welcome to KJV English Clarified. Today's clarified verse is John 3:16, which says, "For God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." The clarified version of that verse is John 3:16, "For God so loved the world." The world is system or society. That's the clarification from the manuscript. That he gave his only begotten, unique or only born. That's the clarification from the manuscripts. Begotten Son, that whosoever from Old English is just everyone who. Believeth is believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So this is just a walkthrough of the same clarified verse. The verse opens by identifying the object of God's love, which is the world. In modern English, readers often understand this word to mean the planet itself or the globe. The clarification system or society restores the more precise meaning of the original term, which refers to the organized human order, the structured arrangement of humanity and its social system. This restoration helps you to see that love described is directed toward humanity as an ordered society rather than toward the physical earth. Now the verse then describes the gift given, that is his only begotten Son. And the clarification unique or only born restores the full weight of the relationship expressed in the original wording. The term emphasizes a one-of-a-kind relationship between the Father and the Son. The word unique highlights singular status, while only born preserves the familial or family language used in the passage, that is the language of Father-Son. And then next comes the scope of the promise, that is to whosoever. The clarification everyone who removes the older English form and presents the meaning in direct modern syntax. This restoration shows that the statement and the whole verse applies universally to all individuals, any individual without restriction. So whosoever is everyone who. And finally, the condition of the promise is described, and that is believeth in him. The clarification there is believes, which updates the older verb heading and restores the clarity of the action for modern readers like you and me. So the statement refers to an active, ongoing response. Believes, continually believing, active and ongoing. Response towards the Son rather than a distant or purely historical action. Now together these restorations sharpen the verse's structure. A defined human order is the object of divine love. A uniquely related Son is given, and the promise is extended to every individual who believes in him. Now, what you and me might have missed if we read it with the modern English that we know, several words in this verse either carry an archaic form or they function as chronophos terms. Chronophos terms are also called false friends. What that means is that their modern usage differs from the original sense. That is, the meaning shifted over the centuries. So the most significant example is the word world. A modern reader commonly understands world to mean the planet or the physical earth, and this creates a subtle shift in meaning. The clarification being system or society restores the original sense of a human order or social arrangement, showing that the verse refers to humanity organized within a structured system rather than to the globe itself. And now the other Old English forms are the words whosoever and believeth. And these are examples of older, they might be called older English forms, though there is that English which was before the modern one started developing. So in the KJV, whosoever and believeth are examples of those words which we seek to clarify. And for you and me, we generally understand them, but the syntax is no longer used in everyday language. The clarifications, everyone who and believes, simply remove those endings which are confusing sometimes to you and me. So the sentence reads naturally without changing its meaning. But then some other words are very clear, like perish and everlasting. We understand what to perish is and what also everlasting is. Okay, so now we can look at a very interesting part of this John 3:16 verse, and that is where we seek to see which other scriptures witness this scripture, because the Bible is very unique. Scriptures witness to other scriptures, and that is verses witness to other verses. Like now, for example, John 1:10 says, "He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not." Now we can map that verse to John 3:16 by seeing that this verse uses the same term world, and the repeated usage in this passage reflects the same concept of a human order or system that interacts with the Son. The structure mirrors the restored understanding of world, which is system or society, by showing the Son present within that ordered human sphere. Another cross-reference verse is 1 John 2:15, which says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." Let's map that to John 3:16. This passage that we have just read, that is, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him, uses the term world. And in that context, it reflects the concept of a structured human order again, and its associated elements. That is, loving the human order and all the associated elements of that human order. And this corresponds to the restored or clarified understanding of the term world found in our clarified John 3:16 verse. I can do another cross-reference verse, John 1:14, that says, "And the world was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth." Now this verse contains the same expression, only begotten of the Father, and the language here reflects the same relational designation restored as unique or only born in our John 3:16 verse, which now emphasizes the singular status of the Son in relation to the Father, and that shows the mapping so well. One final cross-reference verse we can do is John 3:18, which says, "He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God." How to map that? This verse that we have just read, John 3:18, reflects two central language elements present in the restored or the clarified verse. That is, believing and the only begotten Son. These two have been used in the same verse, the believing part and the only begotten Son. And the repeated verb believeth corresponds with the restored or clarified form of believeth, which is believes, while the phrase only begotten Son of God aligns with the restored clarification of unique and only born. So John 3:16 relates to those cross-reference verses. In conclusion to this elimination, because we're just eliminating KJV English in today's rendering, so that we can all understand Scripture from what it was supposed to mean to us, but now it's 400 years have passed, and we need to see the meaning as it was then, because that is how it should be even today, without translations and all that. So the restored clarifications in this passage of John 3:16 bring several important language elements into sharper focus. First, they clarify the word world as system or society, which restores the intended reference to the organized human order rather than the physical earth. And this removes the chronophos effect created by modern usage. Remember, chronophos also means false friends, also means words that were in old times, which have shifted meaning. They are the same way in the Old English, but today they mean something totally different. So the second one was only begotten. It's the one that we clarified as unique or only born, and this highlights the singular relationship between the Father and the Son. Finally, we updated whosoever and believeth, because that one helped us to remove the old KJV English language barrier, so the statement reads clearly for modern readers while preserving its original structure. Together, these restorations reveal a coherent description, and this is the coherent description. A uniquely related son is given within the context of the human order, and the promise described in the verse extends to every individual who believes in him. So that is our verse for today. May you continue to seek to understand biblical verses from the KJV, because with this illumination of those old words, you are going to gain the understanding that was meant by the 1611 translators, only that their English then is not the English 100% the English that is there today. So until next time, take care and continue to pray that the Lord may reveal deep things in Scripture using these videos. Thank you and bye.